Hi everyone! My name is Katy, and thank you for joining me for another video. Today we are updating my reading journal, so let's get started. So we are still in my 2024 reading journal, catching up. Today's video I will be doing my October books, and then my next video will be November and December combined. And then I will finally be able to do a full flip through of my 2024 reading journal and get started on my 2025 reading journal. So we are flipping past my first bookshelf spread because I've filled it out, and we are going to my Zodiac Favorites. And my Scorpio favorite was Foxglove, which is the second book in the Belladonna series. And then I'm flipping forward and filling in one of my rereads, and then flipping forward again to my monthly stats page. So in October, I read 4 books, 2 physical, 2 ebooks, 2 owned, and 2 borrowed. And then we are flipping forward to my year of adventure page, and I'm filling in the prompt. And the October prompt I chose was a book that has a house as a main setting or character. And I chose Howl's Moving Castle. And then because that first bookshelf spread is all filled up, I have this second bookshelf spread that I made in a recent video. So I'm flipping forward to that and filling in my appropriate book ratings for the different books that I read. And then I'm actually flipping back to my October cover page, and I'm filling in the stats for that page as well as my favorite book of the month. And with all of that housekeeping done, we are getting started with the book reviews. So, like I said, the first book that I read was Howl's Moving Castle, and I had never read the book before. I'm a huge fan of the Studio Ghibli movie, and like I said, I had it as a prompt for the Magical Readathon, so I thought it would be the perfect excuse to actually read it. And I did a whole spread for it, but overall I gave it 4 stars. Then I read Foxglove, which is the second book in the Belladonna series, and I really loved it. It introduces a whole new character, and it kind of sets up the third book, and I just really enjoyed it, and again, I did a whole spread for it. And then I reread One for My Enemy by Olive Blake, which is one of my favorite books of all time. It is a Shakespeare retelling. It's like a Romeo and Juliet spun on its head with witches in a modern magical New York City and like underground drug rings. Sounds kind of weird, but I just really love it. And then I read Nettle and Bone, which totally fit with the October vibes. And it was a lot funnier than I expected it to be. It's kind of like this wild, wacky story of a princess trying to save her sister from an abusive husband. And she gathers this group of miscellaneous quirky characters, and one of them is a demon chicken. And there's a lot going on. It wasn't really what I expected, but I did enjoy it. That was a 3.5 stars for me. And then I had these 2 empty spaces to fill, so I put quotes in each of them. For this top left quote, I did a quote from One for My Enemy, and that is, "Sometimes an end is just a cleverly disguised beginning." And that's just one of my favorite quotes from the whole book, so I wanted to include it here. And I also love these Halloween stickers, of course by Maragona Sully Art. The little ghosty is just adorable, and I also love the candies. I just think it's so cute. I also really love the combination of orange and purple for Halloween, so Yeah, I just love how this whole spread looks. And then for the bottom quote, I'm doing a quote from Belladonna, and that is, "Though I suppose fewer interruptions do make for more reading time." And that is said about or by this character in the first book, who is a ghost haunting a library, basically. And if I were a ghost and I had to haunt somewhere, I probably would also haunt a library so I could just read stories all day for the rest of my days. It sounds delightful. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to include it here. And because I had just read Foxglove. And again, I love the purple and orange vibes, the little pumpkin stack and the bag of candy. It makes me miss Halloween, but it's always Halloween in my heart. So with our book reviews done, we are flipping forward and starting our spreads. This first spread is for Howl's Moving Castle, and I was inspired by this sticker that I have from Gianni Philly. And I will have all the links to the stationery, as always, linked in the description box down below. Now, this sticker obviously is from the movie, and the book is quite a bit different than the movie, but I still wanted to use it because I just think it's really beautiful and I love their art style. And it also kind of matches the vibes of these new really pretty covers. So I'm pairing that with a few different washi tapes, 2 from Simply Gilded and 1 from Notebook Therapy. And I'm also adding in a bunch of stickers from Notebook Therapy that kind of just go with this magical vibe. If you don't know about Howl's Moving Castle, his home, the castle, is also a portal to different places. And I kind of wanted to evoke that vibe with the stickers, which are all very fantastical and magical. And like I said, I did prefer the movie over the book, but I also have bias because I really love the movie and I've been watching the movie since I was really little. So I was comparing it to something I already really love and expecting it to be like a novelized version of the movie, but I learned that the movie changed the story or the vibes quite a bit. That being said, I still appreciated the book for what it was. It was goofy and funny, and the humor in it is so good. I really enjoyed that, as well as the whimsy of the world and the characters. Calcifer is definitely my favorite character in the book. He is so funny, sometimes his lines literally made me laugh out loud, and I don't usually do that when reading a book. So yeah, I thought he was pretty funny. Just his little quips and jokes and digs at Howl and then at Sophie and Michael. It all just made me laugh and I really enjoyed it. If you don't know anything about the story, we're following a young girl named Sophie, who is the oldest of 3 daughters. And she's kind of resigned herself to be a spinster who runs her family's hat shop. And she comes by an evil witch who curses her and turns her into an old lady. And she is determined to break that curse, and she seeks out the wizard Howl, who is known for A, being a womanizer, and B, traveling around in this weird moving castle. And of course, we get to learn all about him throughout the story. And when she arrives at the castle, he's not there, but she gets to meet Calcifer, who's this fire demon, and she strikes a deal with him to help her get out of her curse if she helps him get out of his and Howl's curse. And a bunch of goofiness and whimsy and magic ensues, and it's a pretty cozy story, I would say. I think it's great for younger kids, especially. I really loved the movie when I was younger, and I still love the movie, and definitely recommend, if you enjoyed the movie, checking out the book as well. And I also think that the spread came together really, really beautifully. I love these kind of bluish purple periwinkle shades, one of my favorite colors. And the quote that I chose was, "A heart's a heavy burden." So then flipping forward, we are working on my second spread, which is for Foxglove. And I'm using a combination of different washi tapes from Notebook Therapy. I cut these little picture frame sticker kind of things into individual pieces, and then I layered them on top of each other just to add a bit more visual interest instead of keeping them in a straight line. And then I'm using one of my favorite washi tapes, which is this moon phase, dark, romantic, gothic kind of one. I really, really love this one with the scalloped edges. And then I am also using this fan art, which is so stunning, of Cigna and Death. And the quote that I chose for this spread was, "Cigna Farrow is many things, but she is not prey." And Cigna gets introduced to a new character called Fate, who is the character Death's brother. And he is another immortal being with magical powers. But he, of course, is able to control and weave Fate. And I really liked the visual representation of him weaving tapestries and how each string in the tapestry represented a different kind of event or thing that happened to that individual in their life. My mom weaves, so I always love like fiber arts, sewing, knitting, weaving in books, media. So I always really connect with that, and I really enjoyed that in this book. Now, the character of Fate, I would compare him and his characterization to kind of like Jax in the Garberverse, if you know him. You know, he likes to play games and makes deals, and he's really charming and quite cheeky, and it's just his vibe. It reminded me of him, I guess. And that is to say, I enjoyed the character. I felt like Death took a back seat for sure in this book. And it was definitely setting up the third book. Like, you could feel that, especially toward the end. But I still really enjoyed it. It starts out with another murder mystery because Death truly follows Cigna wherever she goes. And the character of Fate barges in and pins this murder mystery on Cigna's uncle, Elijah Hawthorne. So Cigna and her cousin Blythe are determined to set Elijah free and to get him help however they need to. And so what ends up happening, you know, there's a deal made with Fate by Cigna so that he will hopefully, you know, help them free him in exchange for allowing Fate to court Cigna, because he is under the impression that Cigna is the reincarnation of his love, who was called Life. And I really enjoyed the backstory that is given with Life and why she would need to be reincarnated and what happened to her and how it was connected to Death. And that whole story, I really enjoyed how it was crafted. It, you know, I was not expecting it at all, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. I won't say too much for spoiler reasons, but if you know, you know. And I also found myself rooting for Blythe, who isn't necessarily my favorite character, but you could see that she was going to have an arc, like a good character arc, obviously. And she does, and I did enjoy it. And you are set up with Blythe being basically the main character of the third book. So yes, that's all I'll say in regards to that. But I was honestly shocked and surprised by who the actual killer in the murder mystery was and their motives and everything behind it. I legitimately did not see it coming at all. So that was a fun addition to this book as well. But I did see some of the other twists, especially related to Fate himself. I did see them coming, but I didn't mind that. Like I said, I enjoyed how the story was crafted, and a lot of the backstory really, really worked for me. The book still has this kind of gothic vibe. The Regency vibes are totally there. We get to go to Cigna's estate of Foxglove and learn a little bit more about the night her parents died, but still not a ton. So I'm still definitely intrigued by all of that. And I just have really enjoyed the series itself so far. I also really enjoy the conversations around grief and death and the afterlife and what happens after you die. And some of my favorite parts are when Cigna and Death are talking to each other or talking to spirits about the afterlife and passing on. So definitely, if you like the macabre, I think you would enjoy this. And I also just overall really enjoy how the spread came out. The colors are definitely that maroon burgundy shade that's used on the cover of the book itself. So I just felt like the vibes were perfect. Now, moving on, we are flipping past that bookshelf spread and getting to a new, fresh spread for One for My Enemy. And I was able to find sticker versions of the character art that is in the book itself, because each of the different acts, I think, has character art in it. I think it's the acts because this book is kind of structured like a play. It is a Shakespearean retelling, kind of. And I really love the aesthetic of this character art, and it totally goes with the whole vibes of the story. This is a tragedy, a tragic love story, and it has my heart. I want to reread this book every single year for the rest of my life. That's how I feel about it. I love it. If you're not a Shakespeare nerd, if you're not a Romeo and Juliet tragedy kind of nerd, you may not feel that way. But oh my gosh, it totally works for me. So then I also paired those stickers with this beautiful scalloped washi tape from Notebook Therapy. As you can tell, I really love a scalloped washi tape. I think it's my favorite thing right now. This one is so pretty with the roses, and it totally fits the vibe of the book. And I'm also pairing it with these stickers from Mushy Works. These are so, so pretty. They're these romantic, rosy, gothic stained glass windows. And I love the vibe. Totally beautiful. And I was really excited to use them here. And also just some little roses individually placed around the stained glass windows to add to that tragic love story kind of vibe. And then the quote that I ended up choosing for this spread was one of my favorites. There's a lot of quotes in this book, and I think Olivia Blake has such a beautiful writing style. I know it doesn't work for everybody, and it doesn't always work for me, but in this book it definitely does. So the quote that I chose was, "You don't become a smaller version of yourself simply because what you once had is gone." And, knowing it's a Romeo and Juliet retelling kind of twist on that, you can assume some things about the story going into it. You know there's going to be forbidden romance. You know that there's going to be some element of tragedy and feuding households. But, the way that she has crafted this story, it is so beautiful, and the tragedy is so painful but so beautiful. So basically, the way that she has crafted this world, it's like a modern New York City with witches, and there's these two main families and like an underground drug ring kind of thing going on. And the families are based on like Russian folklore, one of which being Baba Yaga and her daughters. And there's two main couples. We have the daughter Masha and the son Dmitri. And then we have Sasha and Lev. And Masha and Dmitri are like the older siblings, and they have a lot of pressure on them to be the heirs of their respected families. And they've, always had this kind of complex relationship because Dmitri is so obsessed with her. He's such a good character. I love him. And it's so painful. But anyway, then the other couple is probably my favorite. That's Sasha and Lev, because they're just so cute. There's all of this drama happening around them between their families and their parents and these questions of loyalty. But these two are so cute in the midst of it, and it's just adorable. I love the juxtaposition and all of it. And I also love how there are two couples, and one of my favorite quotes in the book, I'm not going to quote it directly off memory, but it's basically about how the older couple, based on what they have to do toward the end of the book, are able to give a better life to their younger siblings and allow them to have the life that they wish that they could have had. And as a younger sibling, it makes me emotional, like thinking about it right now. And I think that's probably another part of why I love the book is as a younger sibling, it really just makes you like think about your siblings, I guess. I don't know. I'm very emotional today while I'm doing this voiceover. Anyway, now for the spread itself, I really loved how it all turned out. I love the like roses and the gothicness mixed together. It's perfect for the book. It matches with the cover of the book. And I really enjoyed getting a chance to use these stickers of the character art that's actually in the book. I think that's so cool. Okay, now moving on, we are working on setting up my November cover page. And like I said, my next video will be November and December combined. But I'm using yet another scalloped washi tape. This one is green, also from Notebook Therapy. And I'm pairing that with this autumnal bookshelf kind of washi tape from Maragona Sully Art. And I chose the green just to add a bit of difference and to add to the autumnal vibes once I add my stickers in. And then I'm adding in my little bookshelf tracker on the right page. I feel like this little system of my cover pages this year has worked so much better than in 2023 because it's so simple and it's easy to keep up with. And then I'm also adding in the placeholders for my books read, pages read, average rating, and then favorite book. And I'm adding my title of November books. Now, for the stickers, I'm adding, of course, in these autumnal witchy stickers. I really love how the colors look with the like rusty orange and reds mixed with the greens, which is why I added in that green scalloped washi tape. And I also loved like the baked goods, the kitty on the book, the little window, and the potion bottle. And I had to add in a bunch of the different leaf stickers because it was giving Heartstopper to me. And yeah, I just really like how they all came together. So cozy, so autumnal. I'm missing autumn. It snowed today and it's very cold. And I just love autumn, so I have to, go hard with the pumpkin vibes. So then I just finished off the spread by filling in the little shelf on the right page, and I was done. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your patience. I appreciate all of the comments and support that I've gotten on the channel. I recently hit 5,000 subscribers, which is like just wild to me, but I really appreciate you all. And it's so much fun to share my reading journals with you, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more from me, be sure to hit subscribe. I hope that you and yours are staying safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you again next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.